Hey guys, John here again. Thanks for tuning in, as always. I hope everyone's having a great new year so far. This is going to be a continuation of the discussion we had about knowing your seventh chords, knowing how to find out what scale and what key you're in, and some different soloing applications that I use. And I get asked about this a lot, especially in the comments on the YouTube. People saying, "Oh, can you transcribe this?" or whatever, and what am I doing in certain phrases and stuff. And one of the big things that I keep coming back to are the pentatonic scales and how I like to apply them in a variety of different situations. So before we get started with this, I'm talking mostly to guitar players here, but you can still apply this to piano, sax, trumpet, whatever, and you'll be okay as long as you know your pentatonic scales. And I'm talking about the minor pentatonic scale, of course, the 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7 scale. And this is how I kind of move it around the neck and do things with it in different ways, get a little bit extra mileage out of some pretty cool phrases. And it also stems back to a Guitar World interview with Slash, probably in 2004, 2005 or so, where he said he didn't know his major scales or minor scales, but he knew his pentatonic scales like the back of his hand, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. And that made me be like, oh, okay, I should know these at that level too. And what also struck me as very interesting about that is that he's a very melodic player. He uses a lot of half steps. And the pentatonic scale, as you know, has no half steps in it. So what's going on here? And so I dove deeper into his playing and some of my other guitar heroes, Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads and Al Di Meola, all these other guys that I really dig. And I noticed the half steps and where they fit inside of these shapes. If you know the pentatonic scale, and we're going to do the key of A minor today, C major, A minor, 5-8, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 5-8, 5-8, fret numbers for those of you guitar players. For you non-guitar players, A, C, D, E, and finally G. And if we go through this, root, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, minor seven. So if I had to give this scale a chord name, I would call it perhaps A minor 11 or A minor 7 add 11. So I'm going to write that down here. And to my ear, the fourth can be some people, a former teacher of mine referred to it as an avoid note. I don't necessarily consider it that in particularly rock music, and even when I'm playing fusion and stuff like that, I like to lean on it and then resolve it. But we'll get to that in other videos. Just think of it like that for now. Now, what is this in the key of C? That's where this gets interesting. This is the sixth chord. So we're just going to write Roman numeral 6 up top there. Now, if you remember, I said that the minor 7 chords were were not the most important, but very important. I wanted you to learn those in the previous video. What were the other ones? The 2 and the 3. So 2 minor is going to be D. All right, minor there for you guys. 3 is going to be E. Once again, we're talking about the key of C here. So I could say to myself, geez, does D minor pentatonic work in the key of C? Let's find out. So the D minor pentatonic, once again, flat third, fourth, fifth, flat 7. Works in the key of C. Good to go. What about E? Flat third, fourth, fifth, 7th. Also works in the key of E. So for us guitar players, what this translates to, I can play at the 5th fret, if I'm sticking to pattern number 1, or pattern 1 as I call it, I'm good. Then I can bump it up 5 frets and play the same phrase. And it should work in theory. Of course, the change you're playing over might dictate differently. And then I can move it up 2 frets from there and get another phrase. And then I can bump it up to the octave and still get another phrase. So I can turn one phrase into 4 phrases. This is huge, guys. And this also helps us start to explore the modes. So what you need to do with this, and this information, what I'd like you to do, if you can, get a backing track. Go to YouTube. We're on YouTube right now. Go to one of my favorite guys is Quist. Quist Jam or something like that. Go look up an A minor backing track, just A natural minor, and jam out in your A pentatonic scale, then play D pentatonic over it, and get used to the sound and enjoy how that sounds a little bit. Then move up to E pentatonic and do the same. Now, if you know your patterns, if you know all 5 pentatonic patterns, 5, get the hand in the video, you can now, if you can visualize it, you're playing the C major scale or the A minor scale all over the neck seamlessly. This is very important. This is where we get those half steps that I was talking about earlier. This is where we get that built-in tension and resolution. This is what makes guitar playing and soloing and stuff really melodic. If we look at the really melodic players, we see a lot of half steps. That's important, and that's what makes things interesting. And as one of my other teachers, one of the greatest teachers I ever had, Mirko Kandrel, said, and I'm paraphrasing this, I don't remember exactly, he probably used more profanity than this, but good melody uses chord tone, non-chord tone, chord tone. So consonants, dissonance, consonants, built-in tension and resolution. So if you can understand this, you can understand that, you spend some time improvising, you're going to be able to develop an incredible vocabulary, an incredible melodic playing style. Of course, this is nothing about technique. Of course, bending helps. Vibrato goes miles. I've talked about that a million times. I can't talk about vibrato enough. Sliding, all that other stuff helps. But if you know this and your ear's tuned into it, that'll help. Now, I'm trying to give you this in a way that isn't super theory-based. I just want to give this to the guitar player or to the player that just wants to be able to rip some cool lines and move things around the neck. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about the theory, we're starting to talk a little bit about the modes. That's what's going on here. So if I'm playing over an A minor chord and I am playing a D minor pentatonic scale, what that is essentially going to sound like is that I'm playing A Aeolian. When I move through other keys, and when we move through other keys in future videos, you're going to start to see how we can manipulate this in other ways to get Phrygian and Dorian sounds, in addition to the major modes as well, which are Ionian, Mixolydian, and Lydian. The one mode that this doesn't really apply to is Locrian, and I have a couple of special case things for that as well. But just for right now, take this, practice it, digest it. And I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna write the fret number. So I want you to go get an A minor backing track, play your pentatonic scale from the 5th fret, from the 10th fret, from the 12th fret. I'm lefty, so it's coming out all crooked. But I play guitar righty, whatever. So once again, guys, I hope this helps you out. I hope this helps you break out of the box. And like, subscribe, comment, share, tell your friends, and interact with me about this, because when I'm doing these private lessons 1-on-1, or if I'm doing a master class or something like that, and I bring this up, and there's always a couple of questions, some special case things, dominant 7th chords and such. And I want to know if you guys want to know about that, and I'll give you the information I have for that as well. Anyways, thank you again, guys. Please enjoy. Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys soon.